evening, my dear sisters and brothers. Offering my most humble, prayerful salutations at the divine feet of our beloved Sadguru. We begin to celebrate the International Yoga Day, so congratulations to each one of you for being a participant of this wonderful, momentous celebration, which is being celebrated even as we speak in over 177 countries. Well, today is June 21st, and June 21st was chosen as the International Yoga Day. How did this happen? Very briefly, in 2014, December, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, Prime Minister of India, sent in a draft resolution for approval and vote, saying that we would like to make June 21st devoted to the International Day of Yoga. Why did you choose June 21st? What is so special about today? Today is a summer solstice, the longest day. And then in the Indian Vedic calendar, this is where the sun shifts his direction and he begins moving towards the south. It's called the Dakshinayana. Ayana means path. He creates a path. So Uttarayana is from January to June 21st. And from Sankranti, January 14th or so. And June 21st onwards, the Dakshinayana begins. That means the southern journey begins. So, while Uttarayana is meant to look up and far beyond, to expand your consciousness, Dakshinayana is going inward, into yourself, going deep within and awakening the divinity from down. So this is again a very holy, every day is holy in Indian calendar. If you see, almost every day there is a festival. People are sick of making sweets. That's why you don't make sweets in the Indian festivals. Anyway, so the point is, this is a very holy period for introspection. That is why, you know, it's not coincidence that in India especially, this comes as in time with monsoon. So in monsoon, people don't get to travel much. So they would call it the time from June till the beginning of Diwali. They have called this Chaturmas. They have this 4 months where the yogis and the saints who would otherwise travel always, because these people didn't belong to a place. They will not get attached to a particular place or a village or a temple. They will constantly travel. They were always placed on different projects by the divine. And so these 4 months they wouldn't travel. They would stay back in India. They would stay back in a village. So everybody settles down for the 4 months because of monsoon. And because you have a guru now staying there, people would say, let's make the full use of him. And throughout the rainy season, that is from June till end of September, October, he would stay there, he or she, and would teach everything that they knew. So that's why it was considered a time where there is no journeys done, nobody travels anywhere, but they just focus on spirituality till Diwali happens. And Diwali, of course, is a festival of lights and so on and so forth, to celebrate what all you practiced. It takes 90 to 120 days for anything to become a firm. There's a 40-day period, and there is a 80-day period, there's a 90-day period, there's a 120-day period. For something that you would start, if you can keep it up without any interruption for so many days, then it becomes part and parcel of your life. If you want to break a habit or you want to create a new habit, these are days given. And so these next 4 months is a great way to, let's say, if you're considering beginning asanas on a regular routine as part of your life, not necessarily every day would be great, but if you don't, then at least twice a week or thrice a week, you bring in that lifestyle into you bring in that culture into your lifestyle. This is a great time to start, and that's why Prime Minister Narendra Modi said, let's do it on June 21st, because everybody celebrates January 1st, right? But we chose June 21st, right? In the halfway in the year, so kind of check where am I now and what can I do for the rest of the year. Guess what happened? Normally any resolution goes through a voting process, and the countries vote for it. It's a long drawn process. But lo and behold, This particular resolution draft didn't go through any voting process. 177 countries directly signed it and co-sponsored it, saying, yeah, we are supporting it right away. So it was amazing to see how the world is actually ready to embrace yoga as a lifestyle, to understand yoga as a mind, body, spirit approach. They are willing and they are open to it. We didn't have to sell it to them. They literally were waiting for a knock and the door shall be opened. It was literally like that. So Prime Minister Modi was used as an instrument. And so 2015 he launched this very momentous thing, putting yoga up in the international front. And today as we speak, and today being Friday, maybe the Western Hemisphere may not celebrate it today, but tomorrow morning, most of the people I know in Cleveland, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, I know that doesn't go with yoga, but that parking lot is used and they're going to do 108 sun salutations and so on and so forth. So all yoga studios and teachers get together, bring their students together, and it's a very beautiful occasion. And so, and we are going to celebrate this weekend and learn and understand a little more about this divine science. So congratulations to all of you for being part of this, and welcome, and thank you, SDSE Center, thank you Dr. Rao, thank you Brother Mahesh for giving me this opportunity to once again be of service. Yoga is my passion. I learned it, I guess, from the age of 10. I don't even remember. I mean, as a child, just like all girls are put through Bharatanatyam, right? All the boys go through some kind of yoga or the other. We always send to some RSS school or something will be there in your neighborhood teaching you yoga. So I guess, at least in my generation, people who were raised, so I was into it, and I took to it. I never looked back. And when I joined Sai Baba's ashram at the age of 17, and I stayed there for over 15 years, throughout my entire youth, I met so many wonderful yoga teachers who taught me the deeper aspects of yoga. And Baba himself, on many occasions, guided me into the philosophy and the understanding of yoga in its deepest levels. So I'm very, very grateful. It has blessed me in so many ways. And not only from a health point of view. I come from a family, you talk of genes and hereditary and all of that, with heart disease and sugar and high blood pressure and so on and so forth. But I would, in all humility, but as a matter of fact, can say that I have not inherited that, or I've kept them at bay, and I owe it entirely to this practice of yoga. I'm entering my 59th year, and at the same time, I have not but it didn't stop me from, my hair fall didn't stop, so I can't say it'll prevent baldness. It didn't. But internal health. But more than anything, more than all this, yoga has given me a greatest gift. And what is that gift? The gift is the ability to go within and tap into a source that is unending in its capacity to give. Unending in its capacity to bless you and give. And once you realize that source is within, life changes. Your perspective to every day changes. Every day becomes a magic, and things all fall in place exactly the way you want in life. And it's amazing how you never seek outside for help, you always go within. And all the gods and goddesses you want to please them, all the religions and all the divine, everything is found inside. All the planets are found inside. All the paths, all knowledge is found inside. And that, to me, yoga has been the path that helped me tap to this. And also what I'm going to share in this weekend is not that yoga is the only way to do it, no. But yoga is the way I learned it. And I can share with you what has benefited me. And since this is on the occasion of International Yoga Day, why not take the full advantage? So bhakti can be practiced as yoga. We're going to talk about that tomorrow and practice, and we're going to do this as a workshop. Japa can be practiced as a yoga. So every act almost becomes a yoga and has a potential to become yoga. So yoga is not necessarily only limited to asanas. That is an important element. But to reduce yoga to just physical exercises alone will be doing injustice to this wonderful science. It is a science of self-discovery. You're using your body, you're using your breath, you're using your mind. Things which are available to you to go within and find out what the heck is going on inside here. We get a cough, we run to the chemist, or In India, we go to the pharmacy and say, I'm sick, give me some medicine, and they give you. But here you can't do that. But here you can go and you Google when you're sick, right? If you have good insurance, you go to a doctor. So even for that, we ask somebody else, what's going on inside here? Yoga teaches you to understand what's going on inside. Take charge of your body, not only physically, but at all different levels. And that introduces, and that brings me to this forum of how I teach yoga. I am very traditional. I have a very traditional mindset, mainly because I think we tend to modernize everything too fast, too soon. And then we lose the essence of what it is. When I went to India, the reason why I'm saying this is when I went to India, I go once a year, once in 2 years to visit different ashrams and learn. I was surprised to see an actual yogi, a sannyasi, wearing saffron robes, representing Sanatana Dharma, teaching us as a student. He said, please don't teach spirituality in yoga and nobody will come to your class. Just give exercises, everybody will come. So I asked him, are you teaching yoga just for people to come? He said, how else can I pay my bills? It was sad. It was a sad answer I didn't expect from him. But that made me more determined. That if everybody decides that, oh, people won't understand the depth of spirituality. Oh, nobody wants spiritual things. Let us give them physical. If everybody does that, then who's there to teach you more than that? Today, people who are into yoga are looking, what else is there in yoga? What else is there beyond flexibility? How is yoga different from flexibility? If flexibility is yoga, then you might as well do flexible exercises. Put on CNN or Desperate Housewives, or I don't know what goes on these days, but whatever it is on TV, and you do your exercise and you say you're doing yoga. Is that yoga? That's what we need to ask. And to me, that's why I go back to being a traditional mindset. I said yoga is a lifestyle. It is a means to discover who you are. It's taking mindfulness to a whole different level. We'll see that when we do guided meditation, guided relaxation in the next 2.5 days. A lot of information is going to be thrown at you in these next 2.5 days. Hopefully you'll retain some. We're going to record most of the talks, and if not the asana session, we'll try to record them as well, and I'll pass it back to the SDST to host it on their YouTube channel, so you can always refer back. But it's not something you can cover in 2.5 days. It's not something you can learn in even 2.5 months or year, but you take one step at a time. So traditionally, what is yoga? How do you approach this art of self-discovery? You know, these terms sounds great, but what does it really mean? The inner essence of who we are, the I principle inside of us. Now, if you ask me who am I say I am Sundar, I'm so and so, and I introduce myself. But I ask myself, what is Sundar then? It's just the name of this body, this personality. But this personality was given to me when I was born. I didn't know. My name was not Sundar. As I was born, in the few weeks after my birth also, I was not aware of my nationality or sexuality or who my parents were, what community I belonged to, what religion I belonged to. I was aware of nothing. I was blissfully sleeping, eating, sleeping. I would cry and everybody come to me. I would enjoy like a kingly life, right? So is that Sundar? And then Sundar was put on, oh, your name is Sundar. Oh, this is what you should do. This is where we go, you come here. We go to this market, you also come to this market. Oh, we laugh at these things. You should also laugh at these things. Why are you not laughing? We are all laughing. Laugh. Oh, this you shouldn't laugh. You should be serious. This is how you should sit. This is how you should stand. So I learned. By the time I was 7, I had formed my own concept of Sundar. I adopted that and I said, I am Sundar. But am I really Sundar? That is the question yoga begs of you to ask. So the I principle is hidden deep inside. In Vedanta is the ancient teachings of Indian civilization. It's called Sanatana Dharma, eternal way of life. It's not a religion. It was never practiced as a religion. At that time, it was free. The world was not broken up into fragments of narrow domestic walls, as Tagore says it. The clear stream of reason had not lost its way into the dreary desert sands of dead habits. Tireless striving was always stretching his arms towards perfection. The mind, the thought, word, and deed was always led by a divine cause, not driven by fear and greed, and so on and so forth. So in that civilization, people took time to understand what was going on. And so they discovered that the I principle in you the eye, is covered by 5 sheets. 5 covers. What are they? The outermost cover is what I call myself, Sundar, the body. It is called Annamaya kosha. Annamaya kosha is Anna. Anna means food. Annamaya is that which is sustained by food. What is sustained by food? The body. So the body is your outermost covering. And there are 4 more. So the body is the outermost covering. In yoga, you have practices that help you understand this covering, the Annamaya kosha fully. What are those practices? Of course, one is something very popular, and that is yoga abhyasa, yoga asana, asana abhyasa. Abhyasa means practice. So yoga practice here, when you say abhyasa, you're talking of asana practice. And then you have urja abhyasa. Urja is strength. So you also practice yogasanas from a strength point of view. So there are asanas which predominantly focus on strength alone, so that your muscles are toned. See, in yoga, there is no, in the yoga asanas part of it, there is no wear and tear of a muscle. Now, if you are doing weight training, for example, and I'm not saying what is good or bad, I'm just saying it's a matter of fact, as it is. If you do weight training, what happens is you're contracting and flexing and expanding your muscles. So there is a lot of wear and tear of the muscle. But in yoga, you can tone the muscles. You may not get size. You won't get a 6-pack ab, and you won't get those real cut muscles. If somebody is looking for that, I would say yoga is not the place you want to look for. You can go somewhere else and practice weights, perhaps. You may not get that, but your muscles are very well toned. While a hefty 150-pound gentleman who has done a lot of exercises in weights may not be able to do a handstand, but a yogi of the same weight and body who has not done any exercise, but he could do a handstand. Where is it strength or is it control of the muscle? So there is intelligence poured into the muscle, because as you move, you become very mindful of every single pose. The brain from here talks to the extremes. We will learn that as we practice, how the motor and sensory skills are so sharp. And so the brain, the neurons, and the neural paths in the brains are created so powerfully that you're able to balance when it's required, you're able to provide strength when it's required. So this is also learned in other Chinese forms of practice, like Kung Fu and Karate, where they can transfer the power of Qi, which we call prana, into the hands, and then they can break tons of bricks in one blow. That's not strength. If you look at him, he'll be a puny guy, a skinny guy. But with one force, he can break, like, let's say 5 layers or 6 layers, or sometimes 20, 21 layers of bricks, concrete bricks. That energy comes through the practice of mindful practice. So yogasanas practice brings you this awareness. So it provides strength and vitality to the Annamaya kosha. Kosha means sheath, a covering. S-H-E-A-T-H. Sheath. Like you have a sheath for a sword, right? So it's a covering. Then you have urja, and then you have something called kriyas. Kriyas are different from asanas. Kriyas are where you're constantly karma, kriya. Kriya means action. Asana means pose. Asana. Sit still. Asana, the word asana itself means still. Kriya is constant movement. So when we do warm-ups, we do kriyas. When we do certain cat breathing, for example, we'll do that as well. Some of you have already done it in the previous classes. Cat breathing, you're constantly moving. You're breathing out, breathing in, breathing out, breathing. Surya Namaskar, you're constantly going. Those are all kriyas. So there are all of kriyas also come into practice. Now, all this again with Annamaya kosha. There are also other kriyas. We won't be practicing them because that needs separate place. And what are those kriyas? Those kriyas are internal cleansing of the body again. We're only talking about the body here. So internal cleansing called, for example, if I want to cleanse my intestines, if I want to remove all the phlegm from my system, there is something called gajakarani. Like if you, let's say you're going to work, and I speak this from experience, people will start getting, the virus in the office, when you go, because everything is closed, right? One person gets it, the entire team gets it at some point. It's a matter of time. Or your child gets it, you come home, and then it's a matter of time before you get it, or you pass it on. at those moments, you can actually say, you know what, I feel I'm going to get virus, I'm going to cleanse my system. And Gaja means elephant. Karani is what the elephant does. What does the elephant does? It can suck the water through its trunk, and then it can throw the water out. So Gaja is drinking a lot of salt water and then throwing it out. Now don't go and try it right away. I mean, there are some pros and cons, good things, and who should do, who should not do, there are all of that. But I'm just giving you an idea. Gajakarni is one of them, where you cleanse, and when you throw this water out of your system, a lot of phlegm comes out. And it actually brings down, the probability of you catching a viral fever comes down to just 10%, if you know how to do this. Almost instantly it comes down, because you'll sweat so much that even this onset of fever will just disappear right away. Giving you an example. So there are Shat Kriyas. Shat Kriyas are 6 powerful Kriyas are done. One of them is Gajakarni. Then you have Neti. Many of you know what Neti is. So you pour water from here and then water comes out. That's called Jala Neti. That helps clear the nasal passages. It helps clear the eyes. So these are all sympathetically connected to each other. So when your nostrils are clean, your eyesight is clear, your hearing capability comes up. So there is Jala Neti. There is Dauti. There is where you swallow cloth. You know, some of you are saying, kids should not watch this because kids, as it is, put everything in the mouth. But going back to your 2-year-old time where you wanted to taste everything and everything went into your mouth, here's a chance for you to go back. So there is a muslin cloth which is about 4 inches wide and about 30 feet long. And you start eating it. You dip the edge with some honey and you start, because honey is sweet, so you start, and you actually swallow till the whole thing goes inside. And then you do a Nauli Kriya, where you can rotate the intestines. I'll see if I can demonstrate that to you. I'm not going to demonstrate the cloth eating. And then you pull it out. When you pull it out, again, all the phlegm, you're literally cleansing all the intestines completely, and you're bringing it out. So, Shirdi Baba was known to do something like this, but he went even extreme. He would bring out his intestines itself and cleanse it and put it back. No. There are so many kinds of yoga. There's Khanda Yoga, where you can, if I want to really relax, I can detach this part, I can detach this part, I can detach my legs from the pelvic joints and just lie down as if I'm dead, and then reattach each one of them back. So there is no end to where these kriyas can take you, and how you can continuously keep regenerating the cells in your body. So in 11 months, if your body is going to undergo a makeover, which it does, right? Today it's a known thing that every single cell and every single hair and bone, everything in your body undergoes a complete change in 11 months. So you have an 11-month period of yoga practice can give you a whole new body. And then the next year it can be even newer. So you can get better and better and better, removing all the old practices and old stains of ill health and imbalance and so on. So there are Shat Kriyas like these. I just gave you some examples. Then there is Bhasti, where you, from the rear end, you take water and cleanse the anus and the larger intestines and pass the water out. And so there are so many exercises like this. These are exercises for the body, just cleansing the body, strengthening the body. Why so much fuss about this body? Well, you tell me. Today we are so fussed about what to wear, how do I look, what am I going to dress, and there's so much, and basically eating. Oh my gosh, how can we forget food? Every gathering, whatever it is, food comes a priority. So we make so much fuss about what to wear, what to eat. The yogi said, how about first cleansing? Where is the cleansing going on? You're just dumping stuff. What about cleansing? Imagine if you're home, you're just constantly buying new furniture. Constantly. Amazon, oh my God, this looks good, great reviews, let's order it. What's going to happen after a while? You will have no place to even walk. Why? Because you're not taking the old furniture out, you're just dumping new furniture. However expensive they are, however beautiful they are, how much ever, antique look they have, or they're real antiques, it doesn't matter. Your house is going to get too crowded. The point is, as things come in, the other things have to go out, the older things have to go out. So cleansing is a very important part of this practice of yoga. So it cleanses your Annamaya kosha. It purifies it. So much so that they say you can, that is why in real yoga practice, in a yoga lifestyle, they don't pay emphasis, if you're doing all these kriyas and asanas and all of this, they don't emphasize much on what food to eat. They say your body will be so strong, like you will be in your teenage, like you could eat everything and digest, right? You didn't fall sick when you had 3 pizzas also. Just felt a little awkward, but next morning you were up. But now imagine, you'll have a stomach upset, you'll have excess, too much of curd upsets you, too much of ghee upsets you, or whatever it is. The point is our ability to digest food has come down. And that's why, it's because the internal cleansing has not happened. So in Annamaya kosha, in this practice of Hatha Yoga with Kriyas and all of this, the cleansing is so good, the body is in such good shape that they say you can eat even poison and it will digest. And you have stories of all these yogis doing all kinds of things, and it didn't affect them because they had the ability to digest. So there was not too much of emphasis on food. But Ayurveda laid a lot of emphasis on food. We'll see if we can touch upon those things tomorrow as part of Yoga Anatomy when I talk about it. So this is the Annamaya kosha. And then from there you come to, what is the next cover then? It goes a little subtle now. Now you've covered the gross. The next subtle is Pranamaya kosha. Prana, the vital force that keeps you alive. I mean, even a dead body has a body, but there is nothing going on. Why? Because there's no prana in it. Prana is that the power of chi, as the Chinese call it, the life force. Prana is not breath. Breath is the carrier. It carries prana. It is a vehicle for prana. Breath is not pranayama. We say controlling of prana. Pranayama as a practice, and we do breath control. So pranayama is not breath control. Well, it's popularly understood that way, and it's not entirely wrong. But pranayama is controlling the life force within you. And so there is not just the breath, there are so many kinds of vayus, and we'll again touch upon it when we do Yoga Anatomy tomorrow. The way I'm going to approach Yoga Anatomy will surprise most of you. It's not the flexibility anatomy and the sport anatomy that you'll find in bookshelves today under the name of Yoga Anatomy. That is good too, but that's only restricted to how the Westerners approach the body. But how did yoga approach and how we practice, we'll get a better idea tomorrow in the Yoga Anatomy class. So prana is the life force that is predominantly carried, the vehicle for carrying that is breath, predominantly. Prana comes in through food, prana comes in through sound. The mantras that you chant, the bijaksharas, we'll talk about that when we do Japa Yoga session tomorrow. How you can actually energize your system, get prana, in other words, life force. If I get life force, I can be alive. Do I really need to depend on this food? So food is a source. One of the sources of prana is food, only one among so many others. Breath is one. The sun is a powerful source of prana. That's why if you do Surya Namaskar every morning, you wouldn't need breakfast. You will be so full of energy at the end of those sessions. I mean, you have to get over that little hill called body pain and a little bit of flexibility. Once you get over that hill, then you begin to enjoy, tune into the sun's energy, absorb the energy from the sun. You will not feel hungry or tired because there is so much. It's not about vitamin D, don't mistake me. That's the physical part you can see, but there is life energy, prana, comes in through fresh vegetables and so on and so forth. So Pranamaya kosha is understanding that chi. So yoga, there's practices to understand that. There is a lifestyle that surrounds this. Breath control, breathing exercises, pranayama exercises helps you. There is chanting that helps you to a large extent. So prana, and then there is some of these kriyas, shat kriyas can also, the cleansing kriyas, also apply here. What is it? One of them is sutra neti and jala neti. So in the neti you have two types. One is the one you use a thread, and nowadays there's a healthier way to learn it. When I learned it back then in the 70s, it was a cotton, like a wick, but a much thicker cotton. And then they would dip it in honey wax and then let it dry so it will be stiff. So when the teacher would say, come on, push it in, you know how the Indian teachers are. Arey kuch nahi hota hai, karo. And so out of fear of him, you'll push it in and you'll sneeze a couple of times, you'll do like this and you'll say, oh gosh, no, I have to survive this. So you push it in, you actually start bleeding because its honey wax is dried, it's hard. But then in a couple of days, you learn it. But luckily these days there are catheters that you can do in a much safer way. Other than sneezing, you're not going to be bleeding or anything. So what that does is you actually pass that, take it out from the mouth and then massage the nostril in and out. So there is that kind of cleansing which helps. A lot of prana can be then taken in through the breath. So there are kriyas for that. So pranayama, pranamaya kosha and annamaya kosha have a lot of physical exercises and practice. That is where most of us do the asanas part of it. Some of us going further deeper go into pranayama, pranic exercises. But the most subtle aspect is, what else can I get prana through? Can I get it through food? Then what kind of food has the prana? How does my body absorb life in the food? If I'm going to cook it in the fire, then is there any life left? Because the external fire is already, most of the prana is taken, right? So what comes to me is very little of that prana. Now it's not spoiled. If it is spoiled, it's a dead food. We don't eat rotten food. So we don't have to worry about that. But when you cook the food, a lot of energy is already taken up. Again, I'm not talking about the vitamins and minerals that are already taken away when you cook food. That is besides the point. But the main point is the life force itself. It's alive, and then you put it in fire, and you put oil or whatever it is, and then you put all your masala, and then you cook and cook and cook and cook, and you smell and you cook and you cook. And this poor thing has no little energy, just a little bit of prana left. So we eat. So what happens is, from the time we are born, as we keep eating more and more cooked food, the fire inside goes to sleep because the external fire is cooking it. So this digestive fire says, I don't have to do the work. Somebody is doing the work for me. So what happens? Our digestive ability starts going down. So how do you challenge that? You eat food which is full of prana. Let the fire inside your stomach cook it. Let this digestive fire cook it. So Agni is here. You know, this is one of my favorite topics, but I won't take too much time. Because Krishna says, even in the Gita, that Aham Vaishwanaro Bhutva Praninam Deham Ashritaha. Praninam Deha, in all the bodies of all living beings, I reside where? He didn't say I reside in the lotus of the heart. It's all also there, but I'm just saying, it's so ironical that in the Gita, he says, I reside as the digestive juices. That is the key. If I want to know if I'm healthy or not, just ask yourself, what happens, what is my digestive ability? If I can digest food properly, if every morning I'm passing motions and in the health of the motion is good, then I know I'm in good health. You don't need any other confirmation. But that is your key. Is it digested well? So the fire here is cooking, you're exercising. Like when you do exercises, your muscles are strong, right? It's toned. So why not exercise the fire? Eat raw. When you eat raw food, then this fire is woken up. Oh my God, now I have to cook. I have to really digest this green leaves and this carrot and this apple and everything that I'm eating with skin and all of this. I have to digest, so it does a lot of work. So at least once in a while, consider eating some raw food. So you challenge the system and keep this alive. So
if you
prana.
put icing on the salad and all and eat, then it...
Yeah, that's fine. You can make it very tasty. Okay. You should come home sometimes. We make it like bhel puri chaat. No, you can put tamarind and you can make it lemon and coriander leaves, and you give anything to Indian housewives, you know, they can make a cardboard tasty. So I'm lucky. Maya's an excellent cook. So yeah, absolutely. But choose dressings which are organic. But ideally make your own dressing. It's cold pressed olive oil, cold pressed sesame is very good. Sesame oils are very good. Coconut oil is very good. And so on and so forth. So there's that, that's why I said that's a whole different...
My question was geared towards, by cooking you're taking away the prana.
Yeah.
So by adding salad dressing also, are you taking away?
No. As long as it's raw, you're challenging your digestive system. So the thing is, it's fire within and fire outside. Fire is what transforms. So if the external fire has already transformed food, then the internal fire doesn't have much to do. That's what it is. That's why when you're sick, they give you double boiled rice and you eat just lentils and something which is really cooked, right? Why? Because you can't digest anymore. You just want something which is easily digestible. Idlis are given in India. So it's easily digestible. That's the sign. Because you're sick, you can't digest. That's the point. So challenge your digestive fire. So prana, therefore, comes into your system. So Pranamaya kosha is understood as a lifestyle, as a practice, not just 10 minutes of pranayama or a few chanting of mantras, but it also as a lifestyle. You can constantly keep getting prana from the universe, from the sounds that come into your ear, which is a very, very important part of prana coming in, and the food that goes into your system. After these two, the third sheath that comes is Manomaya kosha, the mind sheath. The mind is now below these two. So that is why most of us, when we tackle, you see, the way I approached and I understand mind is, It's like you start from the gross to the subtle. Start with the body, go to the breath, then you come to the mind. It's easy transition. Straight away jumping into mind without working on the body or the breath is, for me, it's an incomplete practice. And I'm not saying it shouldn't be done that way. But going into meditation is, for me, through Hatha Yoga. First understand the body, understand the breath. Then when you go in, you will automatically, the mind, which is a product of these, will come. It's a virtual reality, right? Where is the mind really? There's no one particular place where you can pinpoint and say, aha, I found you. You're hiding here in some cranny here in the skull. That's the brain, it's not the mind. Where is the mind? And therefore the mind is even more subtle than the breath. Body I can see, I can touch, I can feel. Breath, I cannot see, but I can feel, I can touch. Mind, I can neither see nor feel. But it is there. So the more subtle it is, the more powerful it is. And when you get up in the morning, you know how powerful the mind is. The body is rested, is ready to get up to work. Your breathing has been calm and subtle, so everything is ready in your system for a go, but your mind says, oh my God, I need another 20 minutes of a nap. And you say, yeah, I need, and you go to sleep. The mind is so powerful. The more subtle you go within, you're getting more and more powerful. That's why they said that the I, which is the most subtle, is the divine, it's the divine principle. That is so much more powerful. If the mind itself is this powerful, you've got two more sheets, and then within that lies this divine seed within us. That links you to this cosmic intelligence. That's the beauty of yoga. So, Manomaya kosha, the mind sheath. How do we approach this mind sheath? So there is a Shat Kriya for this. There is something called Trataka, but we'll apply that for Vijnanamaya kosha. In Manomaya kosha mainly comes emotions. We use emotions as a power. So Bhakti Yoga becomes a part of Manomaya kosha. So there is singing and kirtans become a very valuable practice of Manomaya kosha. It is part of yoga. That's why it's called, kirtans is part of Bhakti Yoga. And we'll practice tomorrow. I'll show you how each kirtan affects each of the chakras. And we'll do that as a workshop. So kirtans become an important part. Mantra, japa practice. Japam, when you chant japam internally, that becomes a very powerful practice. So when you say externally, when you chant loudly, it becomes effective for the Pranamaya kosha because your ear is listening to what is happening. So your ear is absorbing the sound of the mantra. But when you want to approach to the mind, what you do is you learn to chant it mentally. Baba would say that is the most powerful way of chanting because it needs really complete mindfulness. I can be chanting loud and I'll be thinking of so many things, right? Because it becomes monotonous after a while. So it's very easy to say Om Shri Sai Ram, Om Shri Ram, Om Shri Ram, 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 but your mind is all over the place, everywhere except Ram. But once you close your eyes and say, I'm going to chant it mentally and sync it with your breath, now what's happening is your mind has to pay attention. You can't. So that silent japam becomes effective for understanding the mind, slowing the mind down, and bringing it to a state of stillness. Because you've got to go inside that too. And therefore, practice of japa yoga, practice of, that's called mantra ucharana. Mantra ucharana is Vedic chanting. Now, why do I say Vedic chanting? This is not meant to be a religion, a religious suggestion. Don't mistake me here. But there is something in Sanskrit language where the 50 alphabets, each of those letters, 50 letters, each of the letters represent each petal in the 6 chakras. So the 6 chakras, the total of 6 chakras are 50, the petals. You have 4, you have 6, you have 8, you have 10, 4, 6, 10, 12, 16, and 2. The total is 50, and you have 50 letters in Sanskrit language. Each petal, so the whole language was designed to work internally, the combinations. We'll talk about it in japa, so it becomes very important. So when you learn a language which is so divinely in tuned to go within, why not learn it? It's just a language. It creates new neural paths in the brain. So it actually helps your gray matter to grow because you're learning language which has so many sounds, so many syllables, which you don't come across in an English language. You have ka, you say, oh yeah, I've got K for ka. Yes, but what about ka? Ka, ka, pa, pa, ba, pa, sa, sha, sha. So there are so many. So each, the lip creates a sound, the tongue against the roof of the mouth creates a sound, the tongue going within inside creates a sound, the guttural sounds are there. So for each sound, there are letters in Sanskrit, and then there are words formed, sentences formed, and sounds are created. So when we chant them, they create energies within, and they actually invoke the inner recesses of your mind. So when we talk of cleansing subconscious mind, saying cleansing unconscious mind, these things are open to practice. So I'm not asking you to believe any of this. I don't expect you to believe any of this. But when you practice it, it's amazing how you can easily overcome addictions, easily overcome phobias by understanding what mantra to chant. It's like electricity. When we understand electricity, we handle it carefully. But handled carefully is going to generate so much comfort, right? That is the energy of sound. So mantra yoga becomes part of Manomaya kosha. Mantra ucharana, that is japa yoga and mantra, when you chant Vedic mantras, not as a repetition, but just chanting, because you have to pay so much attention to the way it is chanted. There's a lot of emphasis given. And that was learned, how in traditionally they didn't have books, they didn't have slides to watch. They would just listen and learn. That's why it's called Shruti, Shravanam, only by listening. The child will sit in front, he will look at the teacher will say, he will see his lips, he will listen, and listening is how they teach. So when I was in Kanchipuram, I was learning Veda chants from a Pandit. He would sit, close his eyes. He said, go ahead, chant. He is listening. And of course, I was reading from a book. So I was reading, and even the slightest mistake, even I would understand. He would say, stop, you did this, you didn't go this way. So he would pay attention and go back. So for example, there's a powerful chant called Rudram and Chamakam. Most of you who have know a little bit of Vedas, Vedic chanting will understand how it is used for healing. Why? Because the way it's chanted, it's a long chant. You have to really control your breath in so many ways. It's not rhythmically breath. If it was rhythmically every 4 words, if I had to breathe in, and every 8th word I had to breathe out, it would have been easy. It is really like a boot camp. It never gives you a stability there. You're constantly challenging the way you're going to breathe. So your breath, your chant, and the voice modulation, it's a very powerful way of bringing health. So aerobic capacity increases just by chanting Rudram properly. That's why Rudram is chanted in a group. You know why? Because a single person, is very difficult for him to chant continuously. Don't you agree? I mean, Swaminathan here knows Rudram very well. But have you ever been successful in chanting continuously without a single break, perhaps? With so many years of practice. I'm sure you did. But it's almost, you'll always take a break. Om Namo Bhagavate Rudraya. Om Namaste Rudramanyava Udotta Ishabhe Namaha. Namaste Astudanvane Bahubhyam Udate Namaha. You have to go up and down, and then you have to keep chanting. So after a while, you'll be like, I need a break. So, but that is the beauty. So just like asanas are tough, even mantra chanting is very tough. So that challenges your mind, creates neural paths in the brain stays sharp, memory stays vivid. One of my colleagues, S. Kumar, you probably heard of, he's one of the alumni of my same university, of Baba's University. His father was nearly 100 years, Veda teacher, taught Veda, and he would chant regularly. There was no sign of senility or old age or nothing. He was very, very sharp in his brain capacity was very sharp, memory was very sharp, intelligence, speech, till the day he passed away. That's the beauty of these kind of... so we can train these children with mild autism, for example. You can easily correct that. Well, don't take my word for it. These things are open for research. So let me hold my tongue on that. I'll say that these are all open to research. Teaching a new language helps in a lot of brain development and memory development, not just for older people, but even for helping children learn focus and intelligence being brought in. Okay? So you have Manomaya kosha. So there are practices in yoga for the mind alone, in harmony with the body, breath, and mind. Then comes the next one called the Vijnanamaya kosha. Vijnana kosha is of course sheet. Vijnanamaya is popularly understood as intelligence, but I would go one more step further. Is what kind of intelligence? Somebody says 2 + 2 is 4, you say, aha, very intelligent. That is one form of intelligence. That's normal. But this is intuitive intelligence. Intuition. You know, sometimes you have a gut feeling. and you follow the gut feeling, most often than not, it doesn't click. How do you make a gut feeling work every time? That is intuitive intelligence. How do you nurture that intuition? How do you nurture that? Because you're able to read between lines. You're able to feel something that the senses are not providing. That is a divine energy lying latent within us to tap into. So Vijnanamaya kosha is understanding that subtle part. Sometimes that gut feeling rules everything, even the mind, right? Business deals, millions of dollars of business deals are made on gut feeling, gut instinct. People buy stocks on gut feeling. Though the technical chart shows something, they will go on gut feeling, and sometimes they click. So the gut feeling is not the mind, not senses, not anything. It's an internal wisdom that suddenly gives you a light. So that is where you get creative ideas. They don't come to you in slow bits and pieces. They're downloaded instantly. You get a flash of creative idea. Like, why didn't I think of that before? So how does that come? How do you control that? How do you get that in your beck and call? That is Vijnanamaya kosha. So for that, you have Tantra practice. Tantra is popularly understood in some weird way. Somehow it's connected with sex and things like that. But that's a popular thing. Tantra means ritual. Basically, it's a ritual. Just like how do you train a subconscious and unconscious mind? That is what Tantra is about. Because the subconscious mind understands pictures more than words. It understands imagery. So you use imagery, you use idols to understand the energy of the mind. So, and then you engage in conversing with that energy. For example, Ganesha energy means elephant. Elephant reminds you of what? Strength, wisdom. But does it scare you like the lion? No. But there is timidity in the elephant. There is gentleness in the elephant. Elephant, when you see a picture of elephant, you'll be like, oh my God, it brings peace to your mind. But it's huge. It can crush you in an instant. Why doesn't it create fear? That's the beauty of the elephant. And so before beginning everything, get your mind to that energy, which is powerful, which is wise, which is timid, which is gentle, which is humble. And then you invoke that energy of the mind and then proceed. So you worship Ganesha. What is this worship of Ganesha? Therefore, that is where the Vijnanamaya kosha comes in. So there is
Are you going to cover that like tomorrow?
mantra.
Are you going to cover that tomorrow? Or?
We will try and touch upon this when we talk about Japa Yoga. Definitely, I will be touching upon all of this through when we talk of Japa Yoga and Bhakti Yoga. So the point is, Vijnanamaya kosha is approached through Tantra practice, in other words, ritual. Tantra is, there's a right hand path and the left hand path. So the right hand path is all about proper rituals. Why do I use an incense stick? Because I want to engage my nostrils. Why do I ring bells? I want to engage my ears. I want to engage all my senses, be completely in the here and now. So I use flowers, I decorate it, it's all well lit, and I don't have any time for thinking anything else because I have so much to absorb here. In that absorption, I am dealing with what these images mean to me. They're all symbolic. Everything is symbolic. The Om is symbolic. When you think of the Om, there's learning involved, of course. That is why the status of Guru was given a primary importance in Indian practice. Because these are symbols. Who will explain to you? A teacher who has understood this, who has experienced that, will explain to you. And then you'll say, why didn't I see that? And now you take that and you practice. So in yoga, you're not trying to please, in Tantra and in Vijnanamaya kosha practice, these are not trying to please some gods out there somewhere or some weird, blind, idol worship, but these are symbols of energy principles that I can tap into the cosmos. Just like you have radio stations and you have radio waves all over, but then by tuning into one particular station, you get a sound, the one you want. And then you want something else, you get hard metal if you want soft music, you got the blues, you got the jazz, you got somebody speaking to you, but how do you get it? You have to tune to that energy. So how do you tune into the cosmos and draw an energy of abundance when you need abundance in your life? How do you get health into your system when you need health the most? How? That is the beauty. Yoga is so empowering that it teaches you all this. Tap into these energies. There is a lot of work involved, unfortunately. You can't put a YouTube video and let this mantra keep chanting and expect abundance to come. Because you see, you type abundance, music for abundance in YouTube, you have like hundreds and hundreds. Listen to this as you sleep. It will fill your life with abundance. I wish it was true. It does help. I mean, it gives you peace of mind and you sleep. That helps. But true thing is, you have to work for it. So you have to tune into it. And we'll again touch upon these sounds tomorrow. Vijnanamaya kosha. Very powerful. The more subtle it becomes, more powerful. And so there are practices for Vijnanamaya kosha. And then finally, you have Anandamaya kosha. The fifth sheet is the sheet of bliss. Yes, sir.
The Vijnanamaya kosha, is it the cleansing of your subconscious mind?
Yes. Unconscious and subconscious mind. So the thing in yoga, they don't talk about subconscious, unconscious. Those are terms which are Western approaches. In yoga, we talk about chitta. Chitta is a collection of all of this, collection of your senses, your mind, your ahankara, your buddhi, and all of that. So together there is the substratum of who you are. We're going to clean that. So we carry memories across lifetimes. So how do we go and cleanse them and understand them? And then it's like a reset button. How can I press a reset button and start all over fresh? So that is the beauty in these chants. They actually drill. That's why the neural pathways are important. They drill into your brain, help you go deep inside. And then you'll get glimpses of who you are. You face those ghosts in the closet, literally. And then you'll find there's no ghost there at all. It's just your secretly held belief system that is making you work. There are some very interesting books, Power of Belief, the Biology of Belief, or something like that, by Bruce Lipton, I think. Very good books. People are awakening. That's why I said yoga the world is awakening to understand more and more about us. But in yoga, these are already taught, and there were paths laid out in very clear black and white steps. If I would tell you that there are scriptures in yoga written where they would say, if you want to have, if you are a parent and planning a female child, if you want to have a female child, it is written which nostril should be active for the woman, which nostril should be active for the man when they plan to have the baby. That is the extent to which they have written down. There's a whole Swara Sadhana. There is a whole scripture written on which nostril should be active when you go out to meet somebody. When you meet somebody, and if you want to know if this is the person who is going to be a life partner, find out which nostril is active in her and in you. That is how specific they are. And when you meditate, which nostril should be active? When you're out in the world, when you're active and playing a role of a father or a teacher or a team leader or whatever it is, which nostril should be active? Because the breath, what is going on here is actually what is controlling your brain and the way you think. When you get into yoga routine, one morning you get up and you say, today I'm going to push myself. Guess what? Find out which nostril is active. If the right is active, which means the sun is active, you can push yourself. If the left is active, which is the moon, which means you've got to take it easy. You can't push yourself, you're going to hurt yourself. But there is so much going on inside us. So yoga was meant to empower you and make you understand what's going on inside this. So that's why we have the Vijnanamaya kosha. And lastly, like I said, the Anandamaya kosha, the kosha of bliss, is through meditation. So that is where dhyana or meditation comes. In traditional Hatha Yoga practice, when you understand you can do all of them simultaneously. But then the meditation becomes more and more and more powerful when all of this sheath, like when you remove the first sheet only, you can go to the inner one, right? So you have to understand that. You have to be able to lift it. And then you come to that. And through that meditation, you will touch the I within. The I that is sitting inside, the little gem, the diamond in the attic, as I say. It's inside that I. And once you touch that, you begin to understand that I is what created this universe. And I am not different from anything out there. In that I lies the oneness. Because that seed in me that is existing as the I is the same I in you too. And therein lies this oneness. That is why Patanjali says, Kaivalya Pada, when he ends this Yoga Sutras, he ends in concept of oneness. Ultimately, Kevala. Kevala means only one, right? There's only one consciousness of which we are all part of. We are not just interconnected. That's a good way to start. We are one. We are one. Just one, seen as many. Ekoham bahushyam. Ekam sat vipra bahuda vadanti. There is one, but it's seen as many. So the tree out there is an extension of who you are. The ocean out there is an extension of who you are. The cosmos out there is an extension. There are so many dimensions in this journey, dimensions of reality that open up as we begin to understand these chakras and the way they vibrate, the petals, opens up so many dimensions. And this journey is beautiful, it's ecstatic, it fills you with so much joy that you wouldn't seek any other joy outside because you're so content. That is why the concept of Shiva is always in meditation. Why? Because he finds so much joy, he doesn't need to open his eyes. He doesn't want anything else. He's locked himself up in the snow-clad mountains meditating. Why? Because there is so much going on inside. Even in normal terms, in medicine now they understand this as serotonin and melatonin and dopamine and all is released as you meditate. That brings a sense of elatedness. That is just the beginning of what waves and waves and waves of unending ecstasy and joy and expansion that can come when you go deep into yourself. You come face to face with divinity. So, all of this sounds exciting, and we want to get it right away, but that's the unfortunate part. We have to work hard, and we have to work against all the habits that we've created, against laziness, against doubt, against all of that, against this the resistance that we have built in our body. That if I'm touching my toe tomorrow morning, you're going to get your hip is going to hurt, and you're going to say, oh my God, that resistance is a reflection of the resistance we have built in our mind to grow, to open, to be learning constantly. And that is what yoga starts. So it starts with the body, goes into the prana, goes into the mind, goes into intuition, goes into bliss and takes you deep inside. And through that sheath, the final sheath of bliss and meditation that you experience, you come face to face with your own divinity. And once you discover that, you don't need to look out at all. You have achieved the purpose of life. That is what I believe is the true journey into yoga. It begins with asanas and flexibility, but that's just scratching the surface. It takes you deep inside. So in the next 2.5 days, we are going to touch upon these things, get a flavor of it. And at the end of these 2 days, if even half of you are interested, I don't mind coming back because this learning has to continue. We can learn it on a continuous basis at frequent intervals. We can take each of these topics that I'm going to give you an idea tomorrow. We can take them in depth and understand it. Then go try and practice it for the next 2-3 months along with the asana practice, along with the pranayama practice. Bring in little by little by little by little that slowly allow this charcoal to turn into a diamond. It's a slow process. But slowly, with the regularity, with a firm conviction and enthusiastic practice, that's what Patanjali says. With this firm, regular, enthusiastic practice, one can attain the highest state of yoga.